So, you must be excited to be working on X-Men again.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it started out my career about 25 years ago, and it's great coming back to it. It's just like coming home again.
So, we were just briefly talking a little bit earlier about, what we're trying to, what we're looking for right now is, there are young kids, young Filipino kids, and there are a lot of talents in comics right now. With Jay Torres, who's a writer, Francis Monopol, he's working on The Flash, and of course yourself. Now, you've been in the game a little bit longer than everybody else, I believe. So, what are your views on Filipino talent that's coming up right now?
Oh well, back home, to Manila, there's always talk about whether we're world class or not, and my answer is, if you come to the United States, if you come to different countries other than the Philippines, that's already a proven fact that Filipinos are world-class talent. I just did a charity a while ago, and we restricted it to exclusively Filipino professional artists around the world. When we finally compiled that list, yung listahan na yun, it was a who's who in terms of who everybody was working for, a who's who in entertainment. So you could name any movie, any animation, any game, any toy, anything in entertainment. And guess what? Filipino artists are working on it. And not only Filipino artists working on it, but sometimes Filipino artists are actually controlling it and directing it. Like, of course, yung pinaka biggest examples lately is yung movie Up from Pixar. Ronnie Del Carmen, Ricky Nierva. There's so many Pinoys nasa Pixar that they call themselves Pixnoys.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. So para sa akin, it's about time that the Manila business community get up and say, hey, look, we have around the world proven world-class talent in comics and animation, in concept design, in movies, in toys, everything. It's about time we gather some of the best of our kababayans and do something for us now. All this stuff, all these years, all these decades, we've all been working as professional Pinoy artists. I've been working for other countries around the world. I think it's a time now that we show. I mean, we have such a heritage of myths and legends, and I mean, you say tikbalang manananggal to any Pinoy, and it's like, wow, pare! Wait till you see what this is. The world, I bet you the world would love to see what a real tikbalang is, and a real manananggal by real Filipino professional artists.
Definitely a sense of unity in there. Basically, you mentioned just any sort of legend, any sort of like a ghost story, perhaps, right? It brings us all together. Now, on that, your style is incredibly striking in itself, right? That's probably why you've been in the industry for as long as you have. Now, in that sense, right? Filipinos by themselves, especially when you look back at the Filipino comics of yesteryear, they also have a very striking style, right? Would you say that that's some sort of identity that they have for themselves as well? And can North American Filipinos grasp something like that as well?
Well, see, unfortunately, the short answer is yes. Sila Mang Tony De Zuniga, si Alex Nino, lahat sila sa generation before, they made that style, and around the world, that Filipino style is known around the world. Yung problema natin, sa atin, sa Pilipinas itself, we don't teach our next generations sino ba who came before us. In fact, I have this famous story of a famous comic book writer, Neil Gaiman. He went to the Philippines to do a signing, and he told the producers over there, said, hey, I'm a big fan of Alex Nino. And guess what the response from them was? Sino ba si Alex Nino? Now that's very sad that this American from way over here, well, he's British, but this British writer, famous British writer, come over. He knows our heritage artistically. He knows Alex Nino. He knows Alcala. He knows De Zuniga. Pero yung mga bata natin, yung mga kababayan natin, and it's not their fault, because we as parents and we as the artist corps, we don't teach our kids who came before us. So I'm fearful that of the greats like Ronnie Del Carmen right now and Ricky Mierba. They're big time directors now and managers in Pixar. I'm afraid if this doesn't change in our culture, that we teach who came before and we cherish those that who came before and learn from them, that big people like that will be forgotten. And then it'll always be a question in Manila, kaya ba natin? When, like I said, around the world, it's already proven that kayang-kaya natin.
Now, you mentioned that particular writer, Neil Gaiman, but as big as Hollywood is, even somebody like Quentin Tarantino, right? He's a huge fan of the Philippines in general. If I'm not mistaken, he wore a barong to one of the award ceremonies, and that in itself is ingratiating Filipino heritage and Filipino culture. And the man is not even Filipino. So you know what? We have a lot to offer in terms of these things, I believe.
We have a lot to offer, and that also proves that if we all get together, the best of us who are already proven world talents, we get together and we actually pull out of our roots and out of our legends and myths and make the pinaka ultimate Tikbalan Manananggal, Apalaki warriors, Lapu-Lapu story that people around the world like Quentin Tarantino and everybody else, they'll be waiting for it. They're expecting it out of us already. It's about time we stepped up to the plate and showed the world, sino ba yung Filipinos?
Now, on that note, I know that obviously working with DC and working with Marvel has given you insight as to like the way the comics work and how things in North American work. But do you think there's any room for, like you said, Filipino legends and comics, for it perhaps an independent scene here, maybe online, like an online presence, or maybe in print?
Oh yeah, definitely. In fact, I know for a fact that all of the companies in entertainment, like for instance a Disney, they've been for a long time looking for Asian-inspired creations because they made ubos na to yung mga creations sa Europe, mga fairy tales in the US, and now they've been looking at with the start of Mulan, that was the first big sign that everybody's looking towards. Look at all the Korean and Japanese horror movies that have been copied over and over again. There's so much that we have to prove to them. Japan has already stepped up to the plate, so we already know what Japan can offer. So naubos na yun. Korea is stepping up to the plate right now. So they're going to be used up pretty soon now. It's the Philippines. We're still the hidden gem, the invisible gem of the Orient. But any Filipino knows there's so much. There's so much that we can show the world. And the world, like I said, is waiting for us. I love your country. I think your country is a shining example of how people can live together. I mean, we were walking around the city last night. It was past 10 o'clock and not a worry in the world. It's just so calm and so beautiful, so nice here. I look at it and I see the Filipino community here, and I see the future of the Philippines. I mean, because whether we're Filipino here or Filipino there, we're still Filipino all around. It's just that there are certain things that happen in our country that make it certain ways. I mean, everybody loves going back home to the Philippines. Not so much in love with the situations there, but all in love. The Filipino people, yeah, and with the way we treat each other, the way we live. I mean, I'm talking about family and friends. I'm not talking about the bad elements. There are bad elements everywhere, but the good elements are so much good, and it's so rich. It's so full of family, so full of relationships. That's why every Filipino always comes back. With all of us balikbayan here, save every year just to be able to try to go back home. And I guess for me, the closest to getting back home is here in Canada. Yeah, I mean, I've been to Vancouver, I've been to Ontario, I've been to Banff, Calgary. This place is beautiful. In fact, I hope to see your studio one day.
Thank you so much, Mr. Portacio. Please enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you so much.